All right, hey guys, welcome to Tuesday in the Trenches. Coach Glenn and I are here and ready to go tonight, and happy to see a few people on. So please say hi in the chat if you're able, and we'll get started right away here. This week's topic is teaching kids leadership, and I think this is a topic that we probably don't discuss enough at really any level. I think we certainly don't do it much in youth football. I think there's kind of this feeling that, that we don't want to put kids above one another in youth sports, and we want to try and, I guess for lack of a better way to say it, not make kids feel bad because, this person gets more attention and that kind of thing. I understand, we want all the kids to play. We want kids to enjoy football, but I think that doesn't mean we can't teach leadership. And I really think it's something that's overlooked a little too much in society as a whole. I don't think we spend enough time teaching our kids to be leaders. And so I want to tackle a few things that I thought might help, things that we could do at home, things that I certainly want to try and work on make a better effort with my kids and helping them to learn some of the skills it takes to be a leader, especially on a team. So the first off, I'm Coach Steve. That's Coach Glenn over there. So we probably need to introduce in case you haven't been on before. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we own a training business called Trench Training, where we train offensive and defensive linemen, as well as some other kids, different positions. We work with pretty much anybody on the skills it takes to play, especially the line positions, but to be a more well-rounded, explosive football player. And we have training sessions coming up starting in December. They'll run basically through May. We also have a camp that's going to come up next summer, and we have free membership on our website where you can get access to exclusive content only available to our members. So please go over to trenchtraining.com and check that out. And I think it's something you will enjoy. And we're trying to create a nice community there. So we're looking forward to that. All right, so let's get back into it. Leadership. The first aspect of leadership or skill that I want to talk about was developing problem-solving skills. And I think this is so important because I think that we have a lot of kids that struggle to understand how to deal with a problem. First off, a lot of kids, don't understand what a problem is. A problem might be their cell phone not, running out of battery life after an hour. I run into that with my 14-year-old daughter, and and it could be bigger problems than that. But what we need to realize is adversity happens to everyone. Every single person is going to face some problems in life, some adversity in life, and these are things that we can help work through with our kids by helping them to stay calm, to assess situations instead of freaking out. And that's a lot of times when you don't know how to deal with a problem, it can snowball and get out of control because you just don't know what to do. And I think that's something we can definitely work through with a lot of kids, right, Coach?
Well, one of the things I think that I try to do a lot is anytime somebody comes to me with a problem, my kids included, the first thing that I always try to say is, okay, well, what are some solutions? And instead of focusing on the problem, which is what a majority of people that I run into a lot, they're focusing on the problem instead of what are some solutions. Typically in my business, when anyone came to me with a problem, I would say, okay, I've got some solutions, but I want you to bring some solutions to the table. And I'm not going to even discuss it until you bring some solutions. And then and if they don't bring a solution, like if my daughters don't bring a solution to me, then I will say, well, then this is the solution, and they don't have any say so or choice. So getting people to think more in line of, okay, here's the problem. Now, what are the solutions? A lot of times what I'm finding is that, especially with the youth, is if the solution is hard work, they would rather just avoid it and not do it. So sometimes, the solution is going to be hard work, and there are people that don't want to do the hard work. And I think that's where leaders who handle adversity also are searching and looking hard for solutions. Those are the ones that I think become the great leaders. I was listening to Tony Robbins today, and he was talking a lot about leadership is basically raising your own personal standard. So if it takes a lot of work, and you have to put in effort, what is that doing? That's raising your standard. And I think that's what you're talking about here when you're saying develop problem solving skills, is to not just focus on the problem, but focus on the solutions.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that leads us into point number 2 or topic number 2 there, and that's teach decision-making skills. Because, in the post, you say good leaders make good decisions, but great leaders make those same decisions under pressure, and they do it more quickly. Because, that's tough. It's tough to be decisive. I know adults who can't, so many adults who have such a tough time making a decision. And, we want to analyze and overanalyze and, relook at everything we do and make sure that whatever we do, we don't want to make a bad decision. And I would say, making bad decisions is how we learn. I mean, obviously we don't want to make too many bad decisions, right? But you can't be paralyzed by overanalysis. And I think that this is something that we can definitely work with our kids when they're young, especially our grade schoolers, even some middle schoolers, working on, picking out what they're going to wear, deciding, what they are and aren't going to eat. To a certain extent, we have to make sure they eat the right things. But, how they're going to spend the money that they make with allowances and doing chores and things like that. But, there are so many ways that they can start making these small life decisions that are really going to be helpful when they have to start making really, really big, important ones. And I think we can definitely do that at home and work on that on a regular basis.
The one thing on this one, Steve, that I came away with that I really think is important is that I hear a lot of times people will say, well, leaders are born and you're born a leader. And I disagree with that. I think leadership is exactly this, where you can be taught how to make these skills. You can be taught how to be a leader. And as I'm coaching my team, and some of the teammates are maybe not doing as good as they would like to do. And what I try to focus on teaching them and helping them is to realize you are 100% responsible for you. So it's really up to you. And if you are someone who wants to be a leader and sees yourself in a leadership role, you can become and you can learn how to be a leader. It's all about internal motivation and how much desire you have to be a leader. And the thing is that I liked what you put in here is you had, and I think it might be the next section, or I'm not sure which one, but one of them is that you talked about how you don't have to be a rah-rah guy to be a leader. You can be a leader because you're the first one at the gym. You're the first one that says, okay, put more weight on. You're the first one that when the coach says we're going to do extra sprints, you're the one that says, let's do double that, or you're the one that's going to sprint every single time, even though, the other teammates are going half speed. It's really an internal thing that you can learn how to turn on and turn off to be a leader.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the whole, thinking about leading by example as opposed to, being a vocal leader. I never considered myself much of a vocal leader, but, I was always, I always tried to run as hard as I could. I never walked anywhere, and when I was a captain, I wasn't real vocal, but, the guys respecting me because I was able, because I did things the right way. And I think that, that often speaks much louder than a loud person. I think actions speak louder than a loud person. And some people have it both. They are more vocal, and that's okay, because you do need those personalities as well, but you don't have to be. And that goes to, yes, point number 3, which is emphasize the importance of communication. And leaders have to be good communicators. And again, that does not mean you have to be a rah-rah guy, but it does mean that you have to be able to talk to coaches and teammates, whether it be to lift someone up, or whether it be, talking to a coach about a problem that you're having, or maybe a teammate is having. It's being an example of how to act on a football team, how to speak to others, and that you're respectful, and that you're not going to, say things that are inappropriate to a teammate or a coach. It's the example you set as much as anything. And that, it seems weird because that's really an action, but it's how you're communicating, and because communicating is an action, it's how you're communicating that sometimes can speak louder than the rah-rah stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think the other thing is that it really, when you're talking about communication, it's so important to learn how to read other people's, which is going to go into the next one, but to read your teammates, read other people. I think we spend too much time worrying about ourselves as individuals. And as a leader, you need to really be looking around at your teammates. You can see when a guy, I can pretty easily see when a guy's having a bad day. You can just read it on his face, and you can read it as his body language. And so one of the things about being a leader is being aware of people around you. And I think that's part of communication. So when you see your teammate who is struggling, maybe his girlfriend broke up with him, or, who knows what, there's, maybe his dad was yelling at him. And I know I've seen situations where kids' parents were screaming and yelling at him in front of their friends, and their friends felt horrible about it. And then the kid feels even worse. And that's something, when you see something like that happen, you can very easily go up to them and, give them a pat on the back and say, hey, you doing okay? Those are communication things as a team that I think you can become a leader just in being empathetic towards what's going on with your teammates.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and when we talk about encourage more team activities, that's number 4 here. And, I was once given a very good piece of advice when I was in high school. I played football, basketball, and baseball. And I had decided my junior year I was going to give up basketball and just focus on football and getting stronger. And it was really a tough thing, because basketball in high school was probably my favorite sport. It's because we played with some really good players, and it was a lot of fun. But I thought what I needed to do was just focus on getting stronger and being a better football player, because at that time I started to realize maybe I could play at the next level. And I got a piece of advice from a coach, a college coach actually, who was speaking to my dad and me as well, and said, there's a couple reasons why you should play more sports. One is, you're going to the physical part of it, that you play basketball, playing baseball, you're going to work muscles, you're going to cross train in ways that you'd never get in a gym. But the second thing was, you have to take advantage of every opportunity that you get to compete. Mm-hmm. And whether that's, and I think even more so on a team sport, because you learn things by being on a team that you can't learn in a weight room. You can't learn by working out. You can only learn them by being on team. So the more opportunities you have to be a teammate and to participate in a team activity, it's going to improve your skills and interaction, and it'll improve all the other things on this list about decision making, problem solving, communicating. You can only learn those things in team activities. Well, I shouldn't say that. We can teach those things at home too, but I would say being involved in more team activities gives you more opportunities to learn those things. And I think that's really, really important. That's why we always stress the multi-sport athlete and not being, don't tie yourself or limit yourself if you enjoy playing other sports. What do you think about that, Coach?
I totally agree. I think the opportunity to compete is something that as adults I think for me, speaking for me, I miss that more than anything. I sometimes find myself competing in silly little things now as an adult because I miss the games. I that's one of the reasons why I like coaching is because it gives me an opportunity to compete in a different way. I mean, obviously I'd love to be out there playing and competing, but the more opportunity you get to compete, I think is huge. The other thing is that I think unless you're going to be, maybe an author or, there's a lot of careers out there that you can be a single person and just doing it for yourself. But the majority of careers and the majority of jobs that you're going to get into is going to be about how do you work with your coworkers? How do you work with other people? And the greatest way to learn how to work with other people, in my opinion, is in playing sports, playing games, competing with each other, showing up and working hard at practice. How do you lift people up when they're having bad times? How do you allow other people to lift you up when you're having a bad time? Are you the type of person that needs to have structure and people around you so that you feel better and do better at all your activities? Some people need that interaction, and I think the more chances you have to do team activities, the more chance you also have fun. I mean, that again, another thing that I really miss about playing was all the locker room humor. All the guys that you could count on to say, hey, what do let's go to a movie together, let's go ride go-karts and laugh and have fun. And today I don't have kind of that group of people like I did, and I miss it greatly. And I see these kids, some of them kind of stay away from the group and don't get involved, and I want to try and reach out to them and say, listen, you're not going to get a whole lot of chances to be able to hang out with a group of people with a common purpose, and that is to compete and get better. And I think any chance you can get to do a team activity, you need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure. And that leads us to number 5. It's practice positivity. And, I think, I said in the article, belief in yourself is the first ingredient to leadership. And belief in your team is a close second. But you have to have a belief in yourself, and you have to, I know I've known very, very few. Well, I have not known any negative leaders that I've considered good leaders. I've never met one. I'm sure there probably are some. I know that if you've ever read a book that I enjoyed reading was Good to Great. It talked a lot about leadership and about the different kinds of CEOs in some of the biggest companies in America, and the overwhelmingly the ones that are successful are the ones that are positive, team building people. And I've worked at places. I've worked at one place other than where I work now, and that place had a very demonstrative CEO. And so everyone walked on pins and needles. No one ever wanted to upset him. And it limited the success at that place. And it was a successful place. But I guarantee it could have been better had there been a stronger leader. Because I think when I see people that are kind of tyrannical leaders or demonstrative leaders or negative leaders, and I often think they're doing that because they're probably not as comfortable with themselves, or they lack the communication skills. They probably weren't members of good teams, because you know that person wouldn't do well in a good team environment. So I really think that learning to stay positive, learning to act in a positive way when you're at practice, when you're around your team, even when you're at home, all those things matter, because the positivity kind of begets itself. It's going to roll from one thing to the next to the next. And if you're positive on the field, you're going to be more positive in the classroom. If you're positive there, you're going to be positive at home, and it goes the other direction too. So I just think that it's really important, and it's something, we've talked about coaching, and it starts with coaches, and we need more positive coaches that understand this, and because there are kids that are not getting the positivity at home. And as a coach, we certainly don't want to add that. We want to be as positive and as nurturing and as caring as we can on a field, and we can do that and be effective coaches. And I say you can do that and be more effective. So, yeah,
and I think that the biggest thing and the thing that's I don't know how to say it other than just say it, is that fear is what motivates the majority of leaders that are negative. So their fear is that they're going to not be successful. Their fear is that they're going to be less than others. Their fear is that the workers are going to take over the company, and then I'm not going to be important. So I need to keep my importance as a leader so that they don't take over. And that's running a business out of fear. And I think I love what Tony Robbins and some of the life coach type people are really putting out there, is that in order to get over fear and get over anger and get over a lot of our negative emotions, we have to be, first and foremost, we have to be grateful for what we have. Second to that is that you need to be positive. And even when you're feeling negative, the more positive that you can fake yourself into just being positive, you will start to lose that. And I love what he says. He says gratitude is the antidote for anger and fear. So basically, if you want to get rid of fear and you want to become a positive leader, and as Steve said, I really believe that if you look at like the Good to Great model and all those models, and find the really successful companies that are not successful for a short period of time, but successful over a long period of time through many adversities, you'll find that the leaders are positive. And if these people that are out there preaching it and saying it and talking it and proving it, like Tony Robbins and Ray Higdon and Jack Canfield and some of these people, they all say the same thing. You have to live a life of gratitude. You have to be grateful for what you have, and you have to be positive.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, that was our 5 ways of teaching kids leadership. Let's go back through them real quick again, just to review. Develop problem-solving skills. We want to teach decision-making skills as well. We want to emphasize the importance of communication. We want to encourage more team activities, and we want to practice positivity. So those are our 5 ways to create leaders. 5 things we can do at home, on the field, in the classroom, to become and encourage better leaders. So with that, Coach, I think we're going to call our quits. We're 25 minutes in here. Okay. I want to mention again. What's that, guys? What's that, Coach?
No, I said okay, good, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to mention again, if you're watching this and you do not. If you're catching the replay and you have not signed up as a Trench Training member, please go do that. Again, there's a lot of free content there. We're working hard to try and build a community. We have a private Facebook group that I think is something that's going to continue to grow throughout this the off season coming up. We've got a lot of playoff football coming up very shortly. I think we're in the last week of the season, right, Coach, in Wisconsin?
Yep. We sure are.
Yep. So we got a bunch of playoff games that are going to be coming soon. We're going to finish the season this week. Illinois, I believe, finishes next week, the high school level. I know DJ's got a big game coming up this weekend. So good luck with that, Michael. You too. I know you guys are on, and play big. Make sure you guys play big and play hard and work hard. And we'll see you on the next Tuesday in the Trenches. All right, Coach.
Have a great week, everyone. Yep. Have a good week, guys. Stay positive and be a leader.
All right, guys. We'll see you. Bye bye.